Hey guys, welcome to Mama's Basement. This is going to be a really short preview of the Southern Utah BYU game. It's the final game of the season. BYU is a B overall, a B plus offensively, a B defensively. They are disappointingly for them 3-8, and we come into the final game of the season 1-10. They are number 41 in the country in points per game, 26.6. Their issue has been defensively. They are number 124 in total defense, and we are actually above them, if you can believe that, at number 119 in total defense. Both teams have a negative turnover differential, and we have a better passing defense. They've given up 227.4. They are number 117 in passing defense. We are number 77 in passing defense. Our passing offense is number 182. It has gone up dramatically, but it has not translated into wins. BYU is independent. They did win a national championship back in 1984. Believe me, if you've ever lived in Utah, you are reminded of that quite often by BYU fans. 1984, they won the national title. McFalls is going to be out for us, the defensive tackle. He is out for a week, which means his season is over. We are 1-10. We've lost 3 in a row in our first season as an independent. Our rival, it says, is against Boise. That is yet to be determined, really. We don't have a rival. And BYU, after a very disappointing season, they have wins at Utah State, at Wisconsin, surprisingly, and at Notre Dame. So a couple of really good teams that they beat on the road, but then they lost the rest of their games. So they come in at this one at 3-8, looking for their 4th victory, and a very disappointing season by BYU standards. Our schedule, you can see the lone win back on October 26th against Old Dominion, 20-14 at home. Since then, we have lost 3 in a row, giving up 34, 34, and 41 points, so our defense has been an issue really most of the season. The only game that we didn't give up 30 points in was the Old Dominion game, where we only gave up 14. BYU's leaders, Taysom Hill, 2,306 yards, 20 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. Jamal Williams, 748 yards on the ground, 7 touchdowns, 66 yard per game average. Nick Kurtz, their leading receiver, 46 catches for 602 yards, 54.7 yards per game. Kai Nakua with 3 interceptions. He is a ball hawk. Laulili is their leading sack player. Cantu is our leading receiver, 1,246 yards, 7 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. He, I believe, will start the game on the bench here against BYU. I believe we're going to go with Mitch Dalen as our starting quarterback. Rashawn Martin, 583 yards, 53 yards per game. Fa'atu Ma'ola, 439 yards, nearly 40 yards per game. Our leading tackler is Miles Killebrew. Interceptions, Martavius Redmond with 2. And James Cowser has 4 sacks. All right, we have reached a scheduling agreement to play at South Carolina in year number 3 of our dynasty, and we're going to go ahead and head right to game number 12, the final game of the season at BYU before we get the next chapter of Southern Utah Thunderbirds dynasty underway, which I'm very anxious and excited to do. The offseason will be full of recruiting news. We'll do, I believe, one offseason episode, and then one recruiting episode, and then we'll do a year preview episode before we get into the first game of year number 2. But up next, the final chapter of year number 1 of Southern Utah Thunderbirds Dynasty from Provo, Utah, Lavelle Edwards Stadium. It will be Southern Utah at BYU.